Okay, so I'll show you more of that pattern in just a minute. But first I want to mention, dominant chords are really the driving force behind the harmony of most of the tunes we play. That means that the dominant chord is responsible for the tension in these tension and release kinds of lines. Unrest and rest. The dominant chord is the unrest. The rest is the chord usually that the dominant chord is headed towards. Sometimes you have dominant upon dominant, but typically, very often anyway, dominant chords resolve forward to perhaps the tonality of the tune, or even tonalities for tunes shift tonalities. So when we have dominant chords, we have these seventh chords that have major third and minor seven. That's the primary construction behind a dominant chord. But when we add some of these extensions, these altered extensions in the upper structures of the dominant chord, like the flat nine and the sharp nine, then we really enhance the motion of our lines across these dominant chords, really making them want to resolve even more. I've shown you before this passage. And that's a perpetual pattern that's based on 3, flat 9, 8, 7, moving forward to 3 on each upcoming chord. So the pattern I want to show you today, I'm going to show you how to move that particular pattern perpetually through all 12 keys around dominant chords. But first, let me just reach into kind of the central component behind this pattern that you might want to conceptualize. You can learn this little part of the pattern, and then you really have what's at the heart of this of these extensions in the dominant chord that move it forward. That's the flat 9, sharp 9, 8, 7. The 8-7 is part of the movement towards resolution, but the flat 9, sharp 9, that's really kind of a unique way of presenting the flat 9 and the sharp 9 that's unique, again, to this particular pattern. Now, that can be used in a 2-5-1. It can be used as part of a 2-5-1 going into maybe a diminished scale line. Can be used as part of a 2-5-1 or even a 5-1 that evolves into a fully altered dominant kind of sound. And I love the way, or it can be just used on its own. And you can shape the notes that lead up to it any way you want to. It can be part of a 2-5-1, it can be just a part of a 5-1 kind of motion, but either way, that's the important part of this pattern. Now, what I'd like to show you is a perpetual pattern that moves around the cycle of dominance. When I say cycle of dominance, I'm talking about circle of fourths using dominant chords. So we've got D7 is where we're going to start. We're going to play just the 3, 5, 7, 8 of the D7 at first. That's F sharp, A, C, D. And that takes us right up to that flat 9, which is a half step above the D. A half step above the 8 is the flat 9. So in this case, it'll be E flat. Sharp 9 is a whole step above the flat 9, which will put us on F. And then we move towards resolution, 8, 7. And that takes us right into the B of the upcoming G chord. So I love thinking of it like that. 3, 5, 7, 8. Flat 9 is a half step up from the 8. Sharp 9 is a whole step up from the flat 9. To me, that just makes so much logic when I'm working with students on this to show it like this. It's so much easier than trying to count up to flat 9 and count up to sharp 9. And the thing is, the more you do these kinds of patterns, the more these notes just really become ingrained. Because remember, like I mentioned, the important part of this pattern is going to be that flat 9, sharp 9. But by doing this particular pattern, we're going to really work at building an internalized knowledge of those particular tones. Now, let's take it around a few of the keys in the circle of fourths and get you started on your way around the circle of fourths in your practice. Again, it's 3, 5, 7, 8, flat 9, sharp 9, 8, 7, followed by 3 of the next chords. So I'm going to start on D. That takes me to the B natural. The third of the next chord is just a half step below the 7 on whatever chord you're playing. So I just played D, C on that D7 chord, D, C to the B on the G7. So then I'm going to go up 3, 5, 7, 8, B, D, F, G, flat 9 is A flat, sharp 9, B flat, then the 8, G, to the F is the 7, and that'll take me to the C, or to the E on the C7 chord. Now, what we want to do, well, let's just think about it. If we keep going, we're going to end up way up into the altissimo, because this pattern, the way we're structuring it right now, just climbs up and up and up. So by the time we make it all the way around 12 keys, I mean, I don't know how high it will be. We'll be higher than I can play. So we have to put an octave displacement in there. I don't like putting the octave displacement at the beginning of the chord, because I like keeping that guide tone movement, that 7 to the 3 chord to chord movement, intact. So I like to play the 3 and then octave displace down to the 5. So on the C7 chord, I'm on the third is the E. I just landed on the E from that G7 chord. I'm going to drop down to the 5, which is the G. So when I do those first 3 chords back to back to back, listen to the octave displacement. I'm going to start on D7 again. Etc. Now, as you practice this, you don't have to put the octave displacement on the same flat 9s that I'm putting it on, but I'd love for you to try to keep it, or on the same 5s that I'm putting it on, but I'd love for you to try to keep your octave displacement on the 5s as you move forward through the keys. So as you need to keep from getting too high on the instrument, do the octave displacement to drop yourself back down. Now, I've got a cheat sheet to this that I can send you if you're interested. Just drop me an email. You can find me at beginningsax.com. Just go to the contacts page and drop me an email. While you're there, check out my jazz improv lessons. Got lots of improvisation lessons on the site there. Just go to the jazz improv lessons page. And also, randyhunterjazz.vhx.tv. You can subscribe to my complete lesson series if you'd like to. I'd love to have you as a subscriber. So listen as I play this pattern through all 12 keys now.